How's it going, people? I hope I can remember how to do this and record a video because it's been that long, or it feels like it's been that long anyway, but I think it's been about a week and a half. But we're back, 2025. Hope everybody had a good Christmas and New Year, even though I think you're weak and pathetic if you went out and celebrated it. Today I've got a few predictions for you for 2025 in the fitness industry, and I'm not going to lie, these are not congruent to each other in the slightest. There's just a few things that I've picked up on and the way that I see things going, and we've got some sort of coaching ones and fad ones and maybe I suppose gossip ones. I suppose that's probably the way that I would describe it. But it's just a few things that I think are going to happen in this coming year in regards to training and what you're going to see online and what the majority of people and trends and things coaches are going to jump on. But they are all just things that I foresee happening this year, and we can always come back this time next year and take a look and see how many of these I got right and wrong. Probably they're all going to be right because I'm absolutely brilliant. I do predict I'm going to get 1 million subscribers this year, so do make sure that you are subscribed to me to help fulfill the prophecy, and you will continue to get new videos every week, and hopefully, depending on how my little delivery goes this coming week, you might actually start to get maybe 2 videos on some weeks, depending. I've got a few things in the pipeline. We'll see how it goes, but I'm hoping to be a bit more active on YouTube in the coming year, and you don't want to miss anything. Even more Volcano, what more could you want? So do make sure that you are subscribing, hit the bell, comment, do all the algorithmic things, please, because it takes you like 2 seconds and you're going to help just push me to the very top where I belong. So the first prediction I'm going to make is that the running fad is going to finally come to an end. Now, I don't think it'll obviously ever go away. People are still going to run. First of all, it totally blows my mind that running became a thing as big as it did anyway, because it was literally like a year ago people realised like, oh, like running is a thing that I can go and do. Literally nothing ever stopping you doing it unless you've got like no legs and you can just go and run. And it wasn't until last year that people were like, oh, this is this really cool hobby that I'm going to take up and take all serious and look like a fanny doing. That obviously led to the explosion of run clubs and people signing up for marathons, and I do think part of it was probably because of kind of the post-COVID era, the post-lockdown era of people actually being able to get up and go outside, and I think that anyway. But then again, it all kind of happened like a wee bit after COVID, so I still don't know the origins about why it started. But I'm now seeing a bit of a decreased interest in it, and I know that running clubs are becoming a bit less popular. There was a few sort of running clubs that I was aware of that I know are no longer happening, and I think that running is just one of those sports that does get like pretty boring pretty quick. I don't even run very often and I get bored off it, so I think that anybody who isn't too deep into it and has sort of a real love for it or an actual desire to compete in it, I suppose, for lack of a better word. A lot of the people who were just doing it as a hobby are kind of now moving into more of the kind of Hyroxies and maybe CrossFit and stuff like that, like the actual, I'm not going to call them sports, the games, the activities where you actually do different things other than just run, because obviously it's a little bit more exciting. And I feel like Hyrox and stuff's still going to be as popular for the time being. That'll eventually have its day as well, but I think that a lot of the people that are doing all these Hyroxies and stuff and focusing on that are going to come from running, and I think that running, again, it's not going to like totally peter out, but it is going to become a lot less popular in 2025. And I think that's going to cause a lot of problems for some coaches, because you obviously do have like the actual dedicated running coaches that do a great job in explaining how to move your left foot and run to your right foot, and then your right foot in front of your left foot, like real technical stuff there. But I think that there's a lot of coaches now from the running and Hyrox and all these fads that don't just say, this is what I'm doing just now and this is like my new challenge and this is what I'm enjoying just now. It's they tell you, this is what you need to do, this is the best way to live your life, this is going to give you the best results, you should be doing this. And then when that now becomes untrendy, they now need to look for the next thing to jump on to tell you, this is what you absolutely need to do. So like, for example, right now, my main focus is grappling, and obviously I've got a little bit of a history in that, but I've never came and told you guys, like, you need to grapple, it's going to be the best thing for you, or you need to strength train, it's going to be the best thing for you. Like, I do think everybody should be doing some form of exercise, and I would say that anything you do should at least have some form of resistance training in it, and I do think that's overall the best. Again, if I was to start doing Hyrox or CrossFit tomorrow, I would maybe be saying, encouraging you guys, oh, try it, it's good fun, but I would never sit and tell you that this is something you absolutely must do. And so many coaches have put themselves into these pigeonholes that they're now going to have to talk a lot of shite to try and get them out it. and they'll just look for the next fad, popular thing to go on to encourage people to sign up for them. And I think it's probably going to end badly for them, but unfortunately, when it comes to the fitness industry, the stupidity and the gullibleness, if that is a word, will never cease to amaze me. And actually, the biggest joke within all of that is that I would ever actually do CrossFit or High Rocks. Like, come on. Now, speaking of coaches changing their tune, something that I'm going to predict that I can't quite put my finger on down to the absolute T, but something that is definitely going to happen, is that coaches will continue to spam your DMs asking you how your training's going and hitting you with question marks when you don't reply, and you put a story up that's about as funny as a fire in the orphanage and they reply with laughing emojis and nice work lad and all that type of stuff. I'm sure everybody's had it before. That's just the way the fitness industry, and most coaches are literally incapable of having a normal conversation with someone without trying to sell their services. But I think there's going to be an evolution of that this year. I think it's going to go beyond sending messages, and I think it's going to start going into like pictures and videos, and I think a lot of people are now clocking on to the tactics that coaches use to try and get signed up and are pretty sick of it, and are becoming a lot less responsive to it. And apart from anything else, half the time it's not even the coach that's actually sending you the messages. Some wee person over in Thailand that's working for like £1 an hour, who's like their VA on their account. I think that there's got to be an evolution of that, just like there is anything, and I think it's going to start going into pictures, it's going to start going into videos. I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but I think that now, because people are just, you know, a bit numb to the messaging side of things, that it's just going to just go one step further, and you'll start getting videos from coaches, and especially if you've posted any like lifting stuff on your page, they'll start critiquing you and saying, oh, you could be doing this, could be doing that, and just another way just to try and rope you into their services, because now most people are just allergic to being like, I'm a coach, here's my work, here's what I've got to say, if you want to sign up, come and sign up. There's always got to be a spin on it. I don't begrudge coaches for trying to sell their services, but I think there is a kind of ethical way to do it and not do it, and most coaches just don't have that ethical way. And on that note, if you are interested in some coaching to actually start making the gains that you want and have a better year this year than you did last year, all you need to do, fill out my inquiry form that's below, or drop me a DM on Instagram. It's that simple, and then we'll have a wee chat, see what's what, and if coaching is going to be suitable for you. Now, going to switch gears here with the next prediction, which I do hope I'm wrong about, because it isn't the nicest prediction, but unfortunately, with the way that the fitness industry started to go in 2024, and with the increased rise of these young influencers who are promoting and glorifying drug and steroid use, which is exactly what they're doing. Your Sam Sulek, your Trent Twins, your Alex Eubank, like, you just need to watch like a few minutes of them speaking. It's promotion, and it's promotion to young guys that don't know any better and will absolutely watch these people and think, oh, I need to, or I should be, or I want to take steroids. And the specific drugs and doses that these guys are taking, I can't dissect down to the absolute T, but I know enough to know that they are taking far too much for young boys of their age, and to the point it is going to be damaging and harmful to their health. And for that reason, I do foresee we'll say a prominent fitness influencer die an early death next year. Obviously, we unfortunately see it all the time with, you know, slightly older guys and bodybuilders and such, but I think it is only a matter of time before one of these younger guys do just keel over, because the amount of just drugs that they're pumping through their system, and you just need to look at the size of them. Like, the first time I ever seen Sam Sulek was a video of him, I can't remember if he was standing or posing, but it was literally like he was like struggling to breathe, and he was like wheezing as if he just ran a marathon, and I was like, this guy's gonna just fucking keel over like in the middle of this video. And unfortunately, in a world where you're just constantly trying to get more eyes on you and have the best physique and do the most outrageous things, I think these guys, these young guys, are just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and taking more and more and more, and it's just going to only end one way, unfortunately. And that is possibly the worst part of the way that the industry went in 2024 for me, is just with the actual glorification now of like steroids. And there's one thing acknowledging it, and I like it when people are honest about it, but when it actually comes to the stage where you are promoting it, that's what the way these guys come across a lot of times. That's just an absolute bag of shite, and it just sends an absolute wrong message to so many people. So unfortunately, I do think sooner or later there's going to be one of these young guys that unfortunately does happen to, and they're just boof, that's just them, just gone. And I'll finish on a slightly lighter note, and I don't know how many of you guys have followed this or know about this, but I do think that the beef / harassment between Coach Greg and Mike Israetel will come to a head next year, and I think that if they are at one of these conventions or expos and are within a vicinity of each other, I do see it getting physical. I've still never been quite clear about how the whole thing started, but I found out about Mike through his interview that he did with Greg, and they seem to agree on a lot of things about training. But in the last few months, it's just been ridiculous with the amount of videos that Greg has made about Mike, and I know it was partly because at the time he got really popular, Mike Israetel. That was when he'd done the interview calling Greg a whatever it was, and Greg just basically ran with it, and it's just got ridiculous where there is literally like 5 videos a week that Greg uses Mike, and any other Greg video that I click on, there is a Mike Israetel reference in it where he's slagging him off, and the commitment to the hating, you can only respect it. It has definitely went too far, and especially when Mike doesn't even really respond to it. But by his own admission, whether it is all talk or not, he is a pretty mentally unhinged guy, and I think that, I don't want to say the more I hear him speak, the more you're kind of like, are you actually alright, mate? But it does come out with a lot of things that you're a bit like, somebody that smart probably shouldn't be coming out about, but it's more his observations about himself that I think that he's not particularly self-aware about. Him getting into a tangent, but I basically think if they two ever actually come into contact with each other, it will get physical, because I think Mike will just snap and try and go for him, in which case that probably would be quite funny to, well, I was going to say grown men. Mike Israetel has had a fucking tough paper round, because believe it or not, I think he's 39 or 40, so a 40-year-old and a 50-year-old, I think, rolling about, that would probably be pay-per-view viewing. So that's my predictions for this year. I'd be interested to know if you've got any, and if you do, chuck them in the comments below, because nothing does my brain in more when I post a video and then somebody messages me privately about the video, and I'm like, see if you've got an observation, put it in the comments. That's what they're there for, and that's what's going to help the algorithm. It's pointless just messaging me. So try and do that for me, please. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to message me or fill out my contact form if you are interested in coaching. And I'm going to be slightly hypocritical here and say that I am going to be limiting my one-to-one online coaching start spaces in January, because you'll find out on Monday, depending when you watch this, it might already be past Monday, but the main reason is because of what is going to be announced then. The second reason is because obviously it's January and everybody's got that urge to get going in the gym, and I don't want to take on too many new people at once in case it gets a wee bit messy, and let the standards slide a wee bit in terms of what I can give each person at the times of them starting up. So I'm not putting a number on it, it'll just basically be by the time I think that's enough. So probably won't be much more than 3 or 4 as it stands right now. Don't miss out. Get me contacted if you are. You're under no obligation to sign up for anything if you just want to send me a message and know more. So get on that. Let's all have a good week and a good year, and I'll catch you soon.